Okay, so what I want to do right now is kind of go over one of the homework problems, solving trig equations. All right, and I want to go over the problem sine to the fourth of x equals to sine squared of x. All right, and I believe in the homework we were asked to find solutions where x is less than 2 pi, or I believe less than or equal to 2 pi, but larger than 0. Okay, now what I see a lot of students want to do, the urge is to divide by sine squared of x. And I'm here to tell you that please do not do that, right? Do not divide by a variable. You never want to do that when solving any kind of equation. All right. So again, right, resist the urge. There's always that urge here. Do not divide. Okay, so do not do that, right? Instead, what we want to do is we want to subtract and set equal to 0, right? So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract a sine squared x from both sides, right? So when I do that, we're left with sine to the fourth of x minus sine squared x, and all of that is equal to 0. Okay, so the approach I want to take is I want to set equal to 0 and then factor. All right, now notice here what we have in common is a sine squared, and we're left with sine squared of x minus 1 equals 0. All right, and now once we have two factors here, right? We have the factor sine squared and sine squared x minus 1. Right, now notice that if you had divided by sine squared, you would have completely lost one of those factors. You would have not come up with sine squared x minus 1 equals to 0. And essentially you would have just lost a solution, right? Which is why we do not want to divide by anything that has a term. All right, now once we're here, let's set each of those terms equal to 0. And solve each one of those, right? We have a product that's equal to 0. That means one of them has to be equal to 0. So here, sine of x equals to 0. That happens at 0, at pi, and then also at 2 pi, since it is inclusive of 2 pi. All right, at each one of those terms, every pi radians, we get a solution where the sign is 0. For the other one, sine squared of x minus 1, I can do a little factoring here, right? It's a difference of squares. And we'll get something like this. Excuse me, let me adjust my camera here. Okay, and now we can again set each one of those individually equal to 0. So sine of x equals to 1, sine of x equals to negative 1. And again, here solutions were restricted from 0 to 2 pi. So here x is pi over 2, and x is 3 pi over 2. Okay, so again, these are all of our solutions in the required domain. So when given a problem like this, where you have just two factors equal to each other, resist the urge to divide them out. All right, that will eliminate some of your solutions. Instead, take the approach where set equal to 0 and try to factor. All right, thank you.